Hey everyone, the name is Kris Barocsi. Welcome to Gear Corner. I'm super excited about today's subject. It's the Mothership by Tsakalis AudioWorks, which is a tube preamp. And that alone would be a good enough reason to be excited because, well, first of all, Tsakalis makes really good stuff, and second of all, a tube preamp is just something that I absolutely adore. But the really cool thing is how versatile this thing is. The Mothership can be used directly, like connected directly to a mixer or an audio interface because it has a cabinet simulation, which is really unique. We'll talk about it later. Or you can go into an amp's input and has a dedicated output for that. So then it works as a tube overdrive. And you can just stick to your normal rig and have this as a multi-channel crazy tube overdrive, which it does really well as well. And the third thing is obviously you can use it as a tube preamp going into the effects return of your amplifier. In that case, this is gonna replace the preamp of your amp, and you have these multi-channel sort of options having this tube preamp in your signal chain. It is crazy versatile, sounds awesome, and the cap simulation thing is just, it's literally unique. It's their own development. Let's talk about it in a sec. In this intro track, I used the Mothership line. Like I went straight into my up-low interface. The cabinet simulation and mic simulation and everything came from the Mothership. I tweaked the cab options. We'll talk about that. There's an app for that as well. And I'll obviously show how the Mothership sounds into the input of my Rev D40 or into the effects return. The Mothership has two channels, channel 1 and channel 2, the upper row and the lower row. Now both channels have obviously an EQ, like even of 4 bands. You have the treble, mids and bass, and presence, which is very useful, especially when using a cap simulation. And you have 2 volumes and 2 gains, because both channels, like let's go into channel 1, both channels have an A and a B option or mode. Right now I'm in channel 1A. And if I push this, this lights up, and now I'm in channel 2B, which means that I can go for a volume and gain setting on channel 1A. And then if I want a bit more gain, I go up with the gain B a little bit, stick to the same volume. And then when I swap, I have a bit more gain. It's the same channel, the controls are shared, but I can go for more gain and more volume, or the same amount of gain, just a bit more volume for a solo boost or a solo volume jump, which is already like a 1.5 channel within the first channel. And then if you swap over to channel 2, you have the same thing happening. You can use it as channel 2A with a gain and volume setting, and you can activate B, with which you again have another volume and another gain option happening. So it is a 2-channel preamp, but it's almost like a 4-channel preamp because of 4 different volume and gain settings that are there, and you can just swap between those with a foot switch or MIDI, as a matter of fact, because it does MIDI as well. You can also go for low, a medium, or a high gain option per channel. So you can have 2 high gain channels, you can have a medium gain, high gain channel, you can have a clean and a crunch channel, you can have 2 clean channels, whatever you want. You can decide per channel with this mini toggle if you want the gain saturation basically at the lowest setting, the medium, or the highest setting. Now the cabinets, you have 3 cabinet options per channel. Those can be stored on the pedal, and you can choose with this mini toggle if you want cab number 1, number 2, or number 3. I tweaked the cabinets that come with the pedal. The app that comes with it is for free, and you'll find, I don't know, 40 plus, like a lot of cabinets, all kinds of 4x12s, 2x12s, 4x10s, smaller 1x12s, etc. From all brands, from like Mesa cabinets, Marshall cabinets, Zilla cabinets, Fender cabinets, Vox cabinets, like all kinds of speaker and cabinet combinations that they captured or profiled, or whatever the legal term is that one is allowed to use, one of those, and they made this non-impulse response technology, which is tricky, and I'm not sure if I can do it justice, but I'll try to explain it in the simplest way possible. So they have the analog signal as far as possible active in the signal chain, and right at the end it gets mixed with the digital cabinet simulation. Like, I don't know what kind of wizardry that is, but they claim that they managed to keep the latency, which always gets introduced to like digitalized signal, like, you know, whatever IRs you're using. They kept it like at 1.2. I'll put it on screen what the actual number is, but like a super small like millisecond latency, which is crazy. Let me show you the 3 cabinets that I've chosen, because I connected the pedal with the app and went through the cabs and chose my favorite ones for clean to low gain on channel 1. Those are going to be the cabinet 1, 2, and 3 for channel 1, and my favorite ones for a bit more drive for channel 2. Those are going to be the cab 1, 2, and 3 for channel 2. talk about all the jacks, all the ins and outs on the pedals. So first of all, you have an input. You can go in there directly with your guitar, or you can have some pedals between the guitar and the Mothership and then go into the imp. Then you have an effects send and return. That's where you put all those effects that you don't want to distort with the Mothership. So all the clipping happens before that, which means that you can put your reverb, delay, maybe modulation effects, everything in there in that effects loop that shouldn't be saturated. And then there are two outputs. There's the amp out and the cab out. The amplifier output has two options. You can go into the preamp of the amp. That would be into the input of the amplifier. In that case, you switch that mini toggle into the pre position. And if you want to go into the power amp of the amp and use the Mothership as a tube preamp as opposed to a tube overdrive, then you put that mini toggle into the power amp setting, and then that changes in a way the output, the voicing, and a lot of things about how the pedal sounds through that output. And then the cabinet output, that's where you have the cabinet simulation out. That's the line out. That's what you use if you want to go straight into an audio interface to record yourself, or into a mixer if you just want to use in-ears on stage or in a rehearsal room and play completely without an amplifier. And now let's hear the Mothership as a tube preamp going into the effects return of my rev. So I'm using the Mothership as the preamp. That's where the gain comes from and the voicing comes from, and the rev amplifies it. I'm only using the power section of the amp. Now, before I plug this in as a tube overdrive in front of the amp, I want to test this with pedals, how it takes overdrive and fuzz pedals. Awesome! And now let's finally try out the Mothership as a tube overdrive. If you want to use the Mothership as a tube overdrive pedal as opposed to a tube preamp, you switch over that mini toggle as mentioned at the amp output to pre, which means that you are going into the preamp of the amp. Gotta grab the Les Paul. Ha, you didn't expect that, right? My thoughts and impressions on the Mothership. The most important and most impressive thing about it is that it works the same well in all three ways you can use it. With the cab simulation going line, like straight into mixer audio interface, the using it as a preamp going into the power amp of an amplifier through the effects loop, and of course as a tube overdrive. All three ways impress me equally. And I think that's the key in most cases. There are some really great, tube preamps with like some sort of a cab simulation already on the market, and I love almost all of them, to be honest. They are really, really good, but most of them do have some sort of, you can do this or that. This one was meant to be used as an overdrive, tube overdrive if you want to. That's why it has the mini toggle on the amp output. You can choose to go into the input of the amp, or if you can and want to, into the effects return, and that way going straight into the power amp. That is the add-on. That is that one unique thing about this pedal that I don't know about on any others. And also, as mentioned, in combination with the cab simulations, which work great. Usually, if a company doesn't use impulse responses like that kind of method to create a digital recreation of a cabinet, I'm not always a big fan, like whether it's analog or some sort of another solution. The only other brand that pulled this off and made, in my opinion, even superior solution compared to IRs is Universal Audio with the Auxbox. That's why I stick to it that much. Other than that, with all the other brands using IRs, Two Notes, the Friedman preamps, etc., those are just so good, like really good. It takes a lot of courage to say like, I don't want IRs. I want something better. I want to develop something new because I believe in it and I will make it work. That's exactly what Tsakalis did. They went for that solution, a unique own sort of way of creating digital images of cabinets and mics. And boy, did they nail it. That's like, if you follow my channel, you know that I only show stuff that I personally would recommend and stuff that I'm really inspired by or just feel really hyped about. It's just this sort of luxury that I can't allow myself because I don't do this for a living. I love doing it and it's a lot of work, and it is work, and I get compensated for that, but it's not something I have to do, right? So I can be super picky and I only choose stuff that I love to begin with, right? I want to show stuff that I think you could like and you should maybe check out. I'm really struggling with finding anything that I can be picky about because I want to be as, transparent as possible. The only thing that I was able to find is the cable. It's again a USB-B port on the pedal, and the cable that comes with it, it's a USB-B to USB-A. I am not sure if that's really future-proof. You can make it work and plug it into a laptop that does not have anything else than USB-C anymore, because that's like an industry standard for quite a few years now in the, computer world. I would very much like to see a USB-C port on this, and that's it. Just have a USB-C and plug it in everything you wanna, including the mothership. That would be awesome. So that's a clear but not that serious critique on my side. I love that, but I don't really mind it because there's, dongles and stuff around, so you can make it work with the USB-B to USB-A cable as well. That's about it. All right, let me know in the comments below what you think about the mothership, which sounds you preferred, like the tube overdrive, the tube preamp, or the full, line with the cap simulation sounds. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.